What's up, YouTube? That's it. What if I was like, that's the video? What's up, YouTube? Goodbye, YouTube. It's your pal Ryan. We do a podcast called So Bad It's Good, and we're making videos up here on YouTube, and we've been doing it for a while now. So you'll see interviews. You'll also see recaps. I kind of do an intro on YouTube just to explain what has come before this, because I do these really long form improvs. No, long form podcasts is what it's actually called. I do these long form podcasts. And so on Monday's show, Monday the 10th, I think it is, October, I've already done a pop culture roundup with Sophie Ross, and then I've taken a commercial break. And then I do the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, episode 2 recap, which is what we're going to be doing here today. Just me and you and Whitney and Lisa Barlow, and we'll just go through the show. I mean, it's like masterpiece theater with a failed actor. It's really worth your time. Also, YouTube, if you're going to BravoCon, make sure you reach out in the comments and smash that like button and subscribe. Smash that like button, you guys. Subscribe. I'll be on Up and Adam Monday as well. This probably won't be up by the time I'm on, but I think you can watch that at any time. So I'm telling future Ryan right now that I hope I do good on Up and Adam. Okay. And then also go subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts too, because we do things that are not on the YouTube over there. This week, we got a banger of a week. Ariana Maddox is going to come on this week, and we're going to do pop culture topics with her. There's too much pop culture to keep up with, but now is the time for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So we are joining the podcast in progress right now. We're catching up. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, welcome back. That was a fun pop culture roundup with Sophie. Just a reminder, you guys, I'm talking to YouTube right now as well. So if you are into YouTube, go subscribe over there. Once I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to eat a raw onion. And if you don't know how much that upsets me, I mean, if you want to upset me, if you hate listening to this podcast, make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube, because once we hit that 5K, I'm going to eat a raw onion. And that is like, I have nightmares about it. Like, for some reason, I hate raw onions, and you will be seeing a man eat a whole raw onion. And I'm telling you, if that's not what YouTube is made for, I give up. I retire, also the Patreon. We did a bunch of episodes last week, including the Kardashians, the Hulu show. You guys know the Kardashians, that the family from Calabasas. We recap it over there. So get ready to be knocked off your coal mining asses with those recaps. We're doing it over on the Patreon exclusively. So it's So Bad It's Good /Patreon. I think the Patreon is great because it has so much stuff on there, and you think I do so much already. Like I said, it's going to knock you off your coal mining ass. It's going to be huge. So what do we think about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City so far? I think personally, I'll go first and then you guys can go. I am loving it, but I will say by the second episode, it was one of the most intense things I've ever witnessed in my life. Just like, we're 2 episodes in and Whitney might have been touched as a kid. Like, I was like, oh, there was that one moment with Justin, you guys, where I was like, I don't even know if I should be here. This feels awkward. I gotta go. Why is the cameraman right there? This is scary. Like, it is so intense, but then there's these moments of great levity. You have that scene where Lisa Barlow's son is like, fudge college, mom. And like, Lisa's like, what are you talking about? No fudging college. And it's just great so far. I can't imagine where it's going to go. Like, we're only 2 episodes in. We probably have like 18 more to go. Whoo, man. So I also want to thank Laura Beth Harp. She took notes on this for me, because it's getting to a point where it has been impossible. And taking notes, because I get every line and word. It's not just like an overview, which I should eventually try one day, but this is like a full experience. And so Juliana Carrazza did my Beverly Hills notes for the season, and still doing it. She's flipping amazing. So Laura volunteered to do episode 2 of Salt Lake City. So thank you, Laura. I really, really appreciate it. Well, so let's see how good you do here. Now, I've watched the episode 3.5 times so far, and I don't know if it's my bad attention span, or if Bravo's messing around with adding new scenes. But I feel like each time I watched, I saw a new scene I didn't see before, which like I should go to a doctor at some point. That scares me. I was like, wait, what was this? But then I got paranoid because over on Beverly Hills, like they're cutting and adding scenes willy-nilly. So I'm like, are they cutting and adding scenes? Like I'm not at a Kanye level paranoid, but I'm getting paranoid. This episode is called Searching for Serena T. It's Serena-TEA. Very clever Salt Lake title job person. I see what you did there because they're searching for serenity, the word serenity, but what they did was put the hyphen and then TEA, like spilling the tea, which is vernacular for just dirty gossips. And there's that thing where there's words that are popular now for the last couple of years that when I say as a two grown adult man that I feel I'm like when I say I'm spilling the tea, I genuinely am. I feel fully ashamed of myself. I'm like, you should not. This is not your word. I feel like I'm appropriating like young kids' words. Like I feel like I'm just going to tell you some rumors. Like it's not even tea. Like I'm just going to tell you some stuff. So this premiered this past Wednesday. The episode description: Whitney plans a girls' trip to Arizona to support Jen, but is blindsided when Meredith shares an alleged rumor about Lisa. Jen gets emotional support from her mom. Lisa talks to Jack about his future. Wait, Laura, did the description say MUM, or did the description say mum in a British way, or did you just put MUM instead of MOM? I would love it if they actually wrote this as the British mum. Lisa talks to Jack about his future. An emotional experience inspires the women. That last sentence is so vague. An emotional experience inspires the women. I was like, do aliens visit? Like, what is the emotional experience? Previously on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, this is where they treat us like idiots and they have to remind us because they don't think we can access our brains, and they show us everything that we already know in our hearts in quick succession just to catch us up. And remember, Jen and Coach Shah dancing at Coach Shah's 51st birthday. Could Jen Shah be on Dancing with the Stars? If she had not changed her plea to guilty, could she have ever been? I think Jen Shah would have been a shoo-in for Dancing with the Stars at some point. And maybe, depending on when they changed her sentencing, you guys, to December 15th. So and that, by the way, the prosecution requested the change. So, who knows? They might request that again and she doesn't get sentenced until the new year. So I'm sure that is good. And especially this episode really tried to make us empathize with Jen, show the plight of her family. And it's a really tricky thing for me because I don't have a lot of sympathy for Jen in terms of the crimes that she pled guilty to. Also, I wanted to say this: we're going to be having a lawyer coming on in the next couple of weeks with a little more knowledge of that works in a DA's office as well. And we were texting this week and she said, what Jen is saying now and how she's behaving online is pretty wild. And she said she would not be surprised if the government made a motion to withdraw her plea. She goes, I said from day one, Jen Shah will plead guilty in about a year and a half. I did not explain the why or how. I know the trajectory. And I said, that's what I keep saying. Isn't the deal, the plea deal, based on her saying she's guilty? And if she backtracks, they can withdraw that deal they gave her. Because, she is still going to be sentenced to a very long time, but it could have been a lot longer if this went to trial. And she said, yeah, they can, or they can ask for a higher sentence. Because of the way the pre-sentence report works, they can say no remorse, etc. She did not plead no contest or the federal, which equals the Alford plea, which we've talked about before in terms of the gentleman from the staircase or the West Memphis 3. So she did not do an Alford plea. She's not requested to do one. She actually did these crimes, and the whole verdict it's all predicated on the fact that she admits she's guilty. So if Jen starts doing the Jen Shah, I'm like, well, I had to plead guilty, but really it's not me. The deal can get taken off the table and they don't mess around. So I'm very curious, and especially that I know Jen Shah will be at BravoCon. So I'm like, because she loves the spotlight and she loves to say wild shit. So I would just say, be careful. I have a feeling she might even get more time for just behaving how she is. Also, last episode, Lisa finds Meredith and tells her she'd like to talk to her at some point at the end of that part. Like, I'd like to talk to you at some point if you're open to it. And Meredith's like, you've had 2 months to reach out to me. Leave me alone. Now, Meredith to me talks to somebody like little stroke face, and somebody that indulges in muscle relaxants. I'm not saying she does something. She just reminds me of somebody that talks like that. Meredith and Jen, they had that scene at the pool where Meredith says, I heard rumors. I just hear rumors about Lisa Barlow, specifically about her having an affair. Then we see a scene of Jen and Coach Shah discussing her trial. And she's like, it's 7 weeks from today, that day of filming. And Jen says, I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared, but we do know Jen likes to lie. So who knows? Who knows? Whitney tells Lisa and Heather, why don't we take a trip before Jen goes to New York? I was thinking Arizona, Scottsdale. And Lisa responds, oh my God, I'm in. Let's go. Whitney is with her healer. Whitney, I would love to see her healer budget. Right? It's got to be insane. And she's like, the healer says the past keeps showing up over and over. And Whitney says, because I don't have a memory of it. And this fucking storyline, you guys, is brutal. Like, it tore me apart. Also, this episode is an hour and 12 minutes long. And what the hell, you guys? You take off Beverly Hills scenes right and left, but you give Potomac and Potomac was a longer episode too tonight, which I love. But it's like, dude, don't leave scenes on the cutting room floor in Beverly Hills. Let that be an hour and 10 too, So Whitney is so the healer says, clearing out this trauma with your early childhood allows you to move forward. And Whitney asks if she can hug her. She says yes, and they hug. Intro music begins. We get our taglines, bro. Jen doesn't do, she's the Shah amazing. She's Shah sentenced. No, Jen says, I'm fighting for my life, not your approval. Okay. Whitney goes, I'm more of a free spirit without the Holy Spirit, because she excommunicated herself. Lisa Barlow's tagline is, I'll always have your back if you stop stabbing me in mine. And then Meredith says, when I take a shot, I always hit my mark. I don't know. Is she talking about a liquor shot? Or I know what she means, but it's so. Heather's is like, I may be a bad Mormon, which is the title of her book, but I'll always be a good time. The show opens with choral music, scenes of the mountain, an aerial view of the city, time-lapse view of a busy street, people walking their dog, and then we flash to Meredith and Seth playing pickleball. Seth is wearing a t-shirt and some sexy joggers that look way too short. Doesn't look like a lot of a package or nutsack there, but who cares? Meredith has on a pink tracksuit with some interesting gloves and hand. By the way, Laura, what great detail you are giving here with these notes. Meredith's like, if I lose, you give me a 3-hour massage. And Seth goes, no. And then they both laugh. We zoom over to Heather's house. She's on FaceTime and with her daughter, she's like, I'm impressed you're up. Like, didn't you have your fraternity sorority thing last night? And Ashley, her daughter's like, I did go out last night, but I'm up and going at 8 a.m. Remember young energy like this? Oh, if I could just harness this. If Kourtney Kardashian sold that in a pill, I'd consider buying one of her vitamins. But that is I remember that, when you'd be going out the night before and drunk, you'd be like, oh man, tomorrow's going to be crazy. And then you still wake up normal and feel okay. Man, Heather's like, I didn't know Thursday nights were big nights. Ashley's like, Mom, in my defense, there weren't big nights at BYU. And what I love about Heather is Heather really does seem like she's so thrilled that her daughter is partying it up. Like, she really is. I love Heather for this. I wish Heather didn't unfollow me on Instagram and support Jen Shah so much, but I really do love her on this show. We get more clips of nature, birds, aerial view, and then we go over to John Barlow's house. He's like, have you talked to your counselor about colleges or places you want to go, to their son, Jack? And Jack's like, not a lot. Kind of just briefly went over it. And Lisa's like, we really got to get serious about this. Do you want me to call the school? And Jack looks at Lisa wide-eyed. And Henry, Lisa's younger son, the really cute little kid, he's like, he doesn't want you to do it. And Lisa's like, I know. So there's more clips of nature, a temple, a busy street, the cityscape, and then we flash over to Jen's new house, which I'm just like, I don't give a rip that she downsized. I'm like, I would kill to downsize into that house. Like, you should have been downsizing that from the get-go. Maybe we wouldn't have to be here. Like, come on, man. Just like provide a living for your family. It's just, it's so frustrating. Jen's like, Bubba, come here, come try this. And Jen feeds her dog a bit of prosciutto. I mean, that prosciutto probably costs like $2 right there. Let's start saving money. Jen's mom's like, Jen. And she's like, hi, mom. And this is the mom. It breaks my heart that the mom gave up her retirement fund to Jen Shah. And Jen made a keto-friendly charcuterie snack board. This thing looks like $125 just to make this board. And I'm like, we just never learn our lessons, do we? We never learn our lessons. Also, Jen brings out a puzzle. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I'm just like, there's no way she'll finish this before prison. These puzzles are so hard. And Jen's like, ever since the legal situation happened, my mom is somebody I've been leaning on a lot in the confessional. And they sit down and she goes, the fact that I can be accused of these things that I'm innocent of, I feel like they should do some kind of clock or like some kind of counter in the corner every time Jen says I'm innocent of. Ding. So that way, when she changes her plea to guilty, we can count how many times during the season she said she was innocent. So this is one right here for those of you keeping track at home. And she's like, it scares me. I need to know that I'm going to be okay. And my mom gives me the reassurance and the comfort. So the charcuterie board really is an interesting snack to serve while putting a puzzle together. The meat is greasy, I would assume, and that can be good for puzzling. I mean, you might be able to jam it in a little quicker, just like kind of lubricant. But I would think maybe a veggie tray, and also just health wise. Anyway, so Jen goes, I had a call with my lead trial attorney, Freier, and it's getting closer. And Jen's mom's like, yeah. And she's like, yesterday was a mock trial of the prosecution side. And it was rough because you have to sit there and not say anything. And Jen's mom's like, right. So you have to listen to all these things being said about you where you want to be. Like, no, that's not true. No, that's a lie. And Jen's mom like, okay. And Jen's like, and so I only stormed out like twice. And Jen's mom goes, oh, that's good. So I have to fly to New York next week. And she's like, next week already? And she's like, yeah, just for meetings with the legal team. All of this money being spent when she's guilty. Jen's mom says, how are the boys doing with all this, though? And Jen goes, it's been hard. Sharif told me all the other day that he walked into Omar's room, her son, and Omar was crying. He's like, what's wrong? And Omar said, I just don't want to be without my mom, Dad. And Jen's voice is starting to shake, you guys. And Jen's mom is nodding her head. Jen's dabbing the eyes with the tissue. We've seen Jen start to cry so many times over the course of the 3 seasons. But, listen, you can't help but feel for her sons. You really do, and I just kept thinking this whole scene, it's like, I just wonder if she's convinced herself she's guilty or if she knows she's guilty. And that is such an added moment of like knowing that you're causing your family pain. Like I feel like she did this. I hate to make excuses for anyone. I feel like she did this to provide a good life for her family. Unfortunately, she did this by stealing from the elderly, but like in the end, her family just wants her. Her family, the sons just want their mother. And she ended up by doing this, by craving the spotlight and these things, did this to her son and her family. And I just kept thinking that's so intense. And Jen says it breaks my heart knowing that Omar's worried about me. I know how I would feel if I was wondering if my mom would be around because I rely so much on her. If I didn't have a great loving husband and kids, Mom, I wouldn't still be here on this earth. I could not get up every day and listen to all of this negative shit that is thrown at me and people saying all this stuff, people that don't know me, and all these tweets pop up about Jen. What does it take for one of my tweets to get up there? My God, like, do I have to tweet? Do I have to be a pro Erica fan or a pro Rinna fan to get on Bravo? Shout out to Zach Peters. She's like, so Stewart pled guilty. Child, there is no way that woman's not going to prison. She'll be out on her 100th birthday. Or hot take, kind of hoping Jen Shah goes to the jail so I can slide into Coach Shah's DM. Shrug emoji, drooling emoji. So that has to be intense. I would say, get offline. Get offline. Just completely during this time. It's like what I recommended to Khloe Kardashian. Get offline. Get offline. You're not going to agree with us. And we all know you're guilty. And we're going to make jokes about that. It's just going to happen. You did not consider those elderly people's feelings when you stole money from them, just like we're not really considering your feelings when we make jokes about you because you are so lying blindly. rapidly. So Jen is starting to cry and like, they just want to tear you down until you don't want to live. That's fucked up, of course. No, I don't make jokes about Jen so she would take her own life. No, I make jokes about Jen. So it's like, yo, use this as a cautionary tale. It does not end well. She's like, every single day I get bullied. I get bullied every single day. And then it's Sharif's job to come home and try to lift me up this much so that I don't want to fucking kill myself and just not be here. It's too painful every day for a year. I've been dealing with this. And Jen's mom like, Jen, right now, I don't know. It's like, Mom, I'm just telling you. She's like, I know, but you know what? I don't have answers for you, Jen, other than I need you here. We'll get through all of this together. And as much as it might hurt the boys and everything else, just think what it would be like if you weren't here. She's like, Mom, this is what makes me mad. Like, I haven't done anything, and my family doesn't deserve this. You don't deserve this. And Jen's mom like, you know what? That's okay. We're strong people. We'll get through this together. Jen takes a deep breath, lays her head down on the table. She and her mom both wipe away tears, and they do the thank you, love you. So intense, right? So intense. But the bully comment also stuck out to me because I've seen Jen bully people online. I've seen Jen bully her staff. Remember when all those leaks were happening with her staff? And I'm sure it's very stressful, but she seemed like a bully to me. That's kind of when I really rail on a character like a Lisa Rinna type or something. It's like these people they have a different set of moral values that I just don't agree with. Like, knock yourself out, you guys. Be as big of a fan as the Shah Squad as you want to, but it makes me mad of like, of course you're crying now, I've got to learn to have more empathy. Choral music. We go over to Whitney's music, Whitney's house. Whitney is also making a charcuterie board. Huge week for charcuterie boards. She's wearing a black crop top with like these leather leggings, combat boots, bold red lip. Meredith pulls up in a Karma GS6. Hey-o, look who's doing good. I'm doing pretty good. How you like that, Alicia? I guess also there's a note in here. Seth in the opening scene was wearing a Karma t-shirt. I only knew of Karma as the Jersey Shore club that they went to on that show. But I guess this Karma GS6 is a luxury electric car priced at $95,000. So good. Hey, I'm Seth. I'm doing good. I got 4,000 employees and I have a $95,000 Karma. Whitney is putting the finishing touches on this board. And Whitney is, Meredith comes in and they're doing like some little dog moments, like petting the dog, like sit. And Whitney's like, come on in. I was just making you a charcuterie board. And Meredith's like, oh, wow, it looks beautiful. You made it yourself? And he's like, yeah, really? Yeah, great job. Chardonnay? Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, fabulous. Thank you, honey. And when he's like, screw top makes mom's job easy. It's a screw top bottle. And Meredith's like, great. Whitney's kids, Bobby, 12, Brooks, 9, come in the door. And when he's like, hi. And Mary's like, hey, guys, what's going on? And when he's like, I made them walk today because it's such a nice day. Come give me a hug and go wash your hands. Hi, Brooks. And Brooks is like, can I go? And when he's like, did you wash with soap? Yeah, go put your stuff away. We're going to just be Brooks and Brooks needs to meet, Meredith says, because Meredith has a son named Brooks. And when he goes, yes, Brooks, Meredith had a son named Brooks, right? Brooks looks at them and immediately walks away. That kid was like, I don't give a rip about another Brooks. And when he's like, do you want to sit outside? She's like, yeah, let's sit outside. And it's a little cold, so they get a blanket. Whitney in her confessional goes, in all the years that I've known Meredith, she's never shown any interest in coming over to my house and spending time with me. And they sit down. She goes, but since her recent falling out with Lisa, it seems she has time for me. So Mary's like, sure, what's going on? Tell me. She's been a little crazy, right? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like I need to ask you how you're doing. I'm okay, Did you have fun at the party? Yeah, I mean, it was awkward with Lisa, It's just, there's no practice what you preach with her. She's just so hypocritical. And then she's always telling everyone else that they're hypocritical and they're wrong and they're this and they're that. She has badmouthed every single one of us in this circle. Do you see what we're doing here a little bit? Now, not only does Meredith sound like my Lisa Rinna imitation to a degree, but Meredith is also using a play out of the Lisa Rinna playbook of she has badmouthed everybody in the circle. It's, Pay attention to the broader picture, you guys. She's putting information out there. She's putting doubt in people's heads. She's bringing it up first. And we get a flashback of Lisa trash talking all her castmates over the course of a season. We got our editor troll right here. Whitney in season 1, Lisa telling John, I don't want to lose our liquor license over somebody's wedding in their basement with a stripper pole. Heather in season 1, Lisa telling Jen and Meredith, I used to hear stories. I think she was like the one that was like, honor code, what? Then Jen in season 2, Lisa telling Whitney, she was meeting up with somebody other than her family about Jen. And then about Meredith, Lisa's infamous hot mic moment that we keep covering again and again. That fucking piece of shit garbage whore. I fucking hate her. She's a whore. She fucked half of New York. Meredith goes, you say to yourself, whoa, why are you so busy trying to put everyone else down in the way that there are all these rumors flying about you? And Whitney's like, well, what have you heard? And Meredith's like, Jen just made reference to their having been affairs. What do you know? Meredith loudly crushes a cracker, and as Whitney stares at her, it's so eerie. I was like, what is it? What is happening? Like, am I having a stroke? And Meredith's like, I just heard that she was, doing favors to help get places to pick up Vita tequila. I have no idea if it's true or false. It sounds absurd to me. Wow. What? Doing favors to help get. Now, Meredith in a tweet this week said, I never said sexual favors. Like, what? Like, I drove her I picked you up at the airport. I washed their car to get Vita tequila. And when he's like, I know that sounds absurd, but it's really not, because I've actually heard the same thing. Whoa. And Meredith's like, you've heard that? Which Meredith almost said that line like, I was just bullshitting, but you actually heard that? I was just totally making it up. That's crazy. And when he's like, yes, I have a friend. It's a mutual friend of Lisa's, and he's very wealthy and very well known in Utah. And I've heard that she slept with him to sway him to invest in her businesses. I don't know, but I feel bad talking about her. The last thing I want to do is sit here and talk about Lisa behind her back. I'm just trying to understand, like, how did we even get here? I don't know. But during my last healing session with Megan, my energy healer, I was able to connect to Lisa. We get a flashback to that. And Megan's like, it's still stuck. What's coming to mind doing her energy healing work? When it's like, actually, it's Lisa. I always see her as a big, mean, nasty girl, but I just saw her as like a scared little girl. The inner child, Megan says. Yeah. We back to Meredith. Meredith's like, wow. When he's like, when I felt her and saw her, I realized that maybe there is something that is like worth fighting for. Wow, I hear you. I just don't know at this point in my view, why am I bothering, Well, Meredith, you're bothering because you're on a TV show. When he's like, yeah, but hear me out. We have this trip coming up, and Jen, I know that she needs us, and I'm hijacking all that bullshit. It really is going to be about healing. And Meredith's like, okay, for real? For reals. We can do this. We can come together. Okay. We open back up, choral music. Flash to Lisa's house. Lisa and her son Jack are playing basketball outside. This is one of my favorite scenes. A lot of people probably didn't even really pay attention to these little scenes, but I love this scene. They're out there playing basketball in the tough driveways of Salt Lake, and Lisa's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, that extra foot you grew is coming in handy. You ready for some competition? And then Lisa takes steroids to do better at basketball, right? No, she goes, Jack's like, yeah. And Lisa's like, shoots and misses. Maybe not. So there's a game montage, and Lisa's like, how's everything going with your SATs? Jack's like, very mid-tier. I have to retake them. And Lisa's like, what are you thinking about with college? And he's like, I don't know. Like, do you want to go or no? He's like, I don't know. And he's like, you don't know, like, if you don't go to college, what would you do? And he's like, I don't know, probably end up richer than if I went to college. So walk me through that logic, Jack. Well, I already own a company, so that's like minus a step. So if I just kill it with that, then I can start other companies and just like become successful. I think that's how Trump started, actually. Lisa's like, in a confessional, Jack has always been a straight A student. He's a leader, and this whole thing is like surprising me. I'm like, why are you all of a sudden so emphatic about not going to college? And then Lisa tells him, that the way my dad raised me, like I graduated from high school when I was 17, and my dad was like, you're on your own now, basically. I love you that you have your own business, but you have your own business because daddy and I worked hard too. And we get a flashback to him selling Fresh Wolf with the other kid. And it was like, it's one of those things, Lisa and the dad did all the work. And, Jack learned to like, this is Fresh Wolf. It's a sign, it was cute, but it was helped by Lisa mainly. Lisa goes, you know, without those kind of connections, it's really tough. And you need to think about that. Like, not many people your age have what you have, but it's also because I went to college, you know? And then Jack, be prepared, get the kids out of the room. He goes, fudge college. Honestly, there's no reason for it. Fudge college. He says the fudge word, but not F-U-C-K. He says fudge because he doesn't want to say. So he's being a rebel, but he's being a polite rebel. Lisa in the confession goes, I don't even know what's happening right now. I don't know if I pushed after this point because I was raised so independently. I'm one of 6 kids and I had to grow up. And I think that I have a very high set of expectations for myself. And I think naturally I just imparted those on my children. And Lisa's like, listen, this is supposed to be conversational. You're taking it like, I'm just telling you my experience. Just listen. At one point, they do a shot of Jack and he has his fists like down by his legs, but clenched, like that little meme of the little dude with the, what's his name? The little dude with the meme and it's like fist is clenched. I was like, Jack, calm down, man. And Jack was like, college is where they go to build machines, not humans. And I was like, holy shit, is this guy listening to Joe Rogan? And Lisa is like, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, did I create this? And Lisa goes, hey, take a break for a sec. And he's like, no talk. I'm all ears. And Lisa goes, no, it just hurts my feelings. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. It seems like you're giving an attitude like, I know everything. I understand everything. You don't. You have me and Dad supporting you. Like when you can get to the point where you're funding your own business all by yourself, I don't have to invest any money and your dad doesn't have to invest any money. Then you can be like, I got this. I'm amazing. You can't do that now. That's not how it works, Jack. And Jack's like, okay, well, I'm going inside. Cut back over to Whitney's. And this is the scene I'm talking about. And it's just really intense. There's no comedy in this scene. In fact, you can tell she's all flushed. Her husband, Justin comes in and he can tell. She's like, what's wrong, baby? And she's like, let me fill up your glass of wine. And they move over to the couch and it's like this camera work over on the couch. And I'm not going to do the exact lines because it's very intense. And he was just like, you know, I was talking to, she was talking to one of her relatives, her brother, and she was trying to plan a get together with him. And he said to her that he was doing therapy and healing work. And he shared that he was doing EDMR. That's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a type of psychotherapy that treats emotional symptoms that follow trauma. EMDR can help anyone whose emotional disorder stems from troubling or traumatic events. And so that's explained. And Whitney's like, Will, her brother, told me that he, like, through EDMR therapy, remembers that Whitney was actually abused and she just doesn't remember it. And in a confessional, she says a lot of her childhood had been blocked out. And she goes, I've been on this healing journey and I've relied on other family members to help fill in the pieces, because as much healing that I do, there are certain things that you cannot remove from a child's brain. All of those memories that I've suppressed are all flowing through me now. And there's just so much pain. I'm just feeling so much pain and so much anger. And it just feels very overwhelming to take this all in right now. And Whitney is sobbing at this point, and to Justin, and she's like, I don't even know if I'm like comfortable saying it, but when Megan, her energy healer, came to our house and we saged the house, every bathroom we went into, she was like, there are so many demons in your bathroom. I don't know what it is with you and bathrooms. And Justin's like, did Will say something that gave you some clarity on that? And she's crying and nods yes. And she's like, it's so fucked up because I'm still so scared to say what I know and what I remember. Like, this is real shit. And then Whitney, because Justin's like, babe, I'm so sorry. This is so messed up. And Whitney goes, like, but do you still love me? And he's like, of course I do, babe. Of course. What a beautiful moment. But also, like, for her to think that is, but do you still love me after this abuse? Which that's, you know, really like what the human mind thinks sometimes. And it's just so brutal. She says, as much as I often question if it would be easier to not know and unsee and unremember it, I don't think so. Like, I think that you have to allow yourself to go through it and acknowledge it and survive it. And there's trauma hidden deep, deep inside of me. And I know that. So that was that scene. And it really was one of the more intense scenes I've seen, where I almost felt like I shouldn't be there. But, you know, hats off to Whitney for sharing that with the audience. Now we are at Heather's house. Heather's in her bedroom packing with her daughters, and they're like going to Arizona and Heather's like packing like lingerie, and the girls are like, "You going to try to get laid in Arizona?" And Heather's like, "Listen, Jen said she wanted a lingerie party. I do not want to let Jen down ever." Yeah, why ever let Jen down? Let's continue to let her rule the gang for the rest. Like when Jen's in prison, is she going to like give marching orders to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast? Like, come on. There's more montage of the city. We see Jen in the closet with Coach Shah, and Jen's holding up lingerie, and Coach Shah's like, "What are you doing? What is this even for?" And Jen's like, "We're going to plan a little party. It's going to be called Garbage Trash Horror Lingerie Party." And Coach is like, "That's the theme?" She goes, "Yes." And he goes, "Please don't. That's not good." Jen goes, "I'll just say GTW, GTW." Coach hangs his head in despair. We cut to more aerial shots of the neighborhood, then Justin again. And Justin's like, "Are you sure you should be going on this trip, Whitney?" He's like, "Yeah, I mean, it's not the best timing, but for me, what's really calling me to Arizona is like me just trying to heal and connect with my family and move from all the past trauma. But maybe don't like this trip is supposedly for Jen. Like maybe let's not put so much pressure on the trip." She says after she got off the phone with Will, she called her other half brother Curtis and told him I was supposed to be coming to Arizona on a girls trip, but she didn't know if she was strong enough to go. But he said, "No, come. You need to see me, your sis and your sister. We got you. We're going to be there for you. We'll help you get through this." And she goes, "It feels right. And it feels good to be like connecting with them." So hopefully that is the right call. We're at a 6 a.m. timestamp. The sun is rising over a mountain, and it is the day of the Arizona trip. Whitney and Lisa arrive at the airport. They hug their husbands goodbye and head to their flight. I also like that the husbands acknowledge each other. Bro. Whitney in a confession goes, "I invited Lisa to fly ahead with me because the thought of the 5 of us flying together right now, I think I'd have a full panic attack just trying to make sure no one got in a fight, specifically Lisa and Meredith." Whitney goes, "I think the other girl's flight gets in a little bit." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, okay. They're not too far behind us." We see Heather and Jen, and Heather's like, "I love Arizona in the winter." And the producer says to Heather, "You don't seem that enthusiastic about a girl's trip to Arizona." Heather in the confessional go, "It's the red-headed stepchild of Utah. It's just Utah, warmer and with more white people, if that's even humanly possible." Now, I'm from Arizona. I don't necessarily agree with this, but it's funny, and it sets up for a funny bit. So this is what's great. This is called repetition, repeat, and then you switch up the joke. We always did this in acting class when you break down a comedy scene for like a sitcom. So you're setting this like Heather bags on Arizona, then Meredith goes, I wouldn't mind Saint-Tropez or Bali or the Maldives, something like that. Then you continue. Whitney in a confessional goes, "Well, I don't think Jen can leave the country." And then we cut to Jen go, "USA all the way. Yeah." So it's like you set up that bam, bam, you switch it, and then Jen goes, "USA all the way." And it really solidifies that joke. It was I know that sounds silly or geeky, but it's like perfect editing. I hope you understand what I'm talking. You understand. It was really funny. So we flash the scenes of Scottsdale and zoom in on the house they're staying at. And oh my God, Laura found the Airbnb listing for this place. Laura, you are killing this thing, Laura. I am looking at the house. The house looks insane. Well, not when you get it. It looks insane because it's so outdated, but it's a huge space. There's a mini putt course. It looks beautiful from these pictures. It's $1,750 a night. That's a lot of money, but it sleeps 16 guests, 7 bedrooms, 15 beds, 6 baths, only 6 baths. Interesting. $1,750 a night. That seems steep. I will probably not be going with this place at all, but like good shout out to you guys. The funny thing is though, with this is it is just the inside is not good. Is that how we say? Yeah, it's like it's very old. It is very old, but it has 4.73 stars on the Airbnb site. You know, when he's like, "Oh, we're here," and Lisa's like, "Oh my gosh, very long driveway." Everybody's like, "Oh my God, so pretty, so pretty." And when he's like, "Hello" to the Becca, the property manager, when he's like, "So happy to be here," and then they show him the house and they go inside, and Whitney's like, "Walking into this house, I feel like we've stepped foot into Mary Cosby's grand foyer. It's almost like Mary is still with us." And we get a flashback to Mary's house from past seasons and a quick shot of Mary's ghost in the kitchen saying, "Woman, woman." That's great, Mary Cosby, right? Listen, this cast is firing on all cylinders. Each one of these ladies is providing such great entertainment, unlike when they had that season of New York last season, where it was just like too little of a cast, where it just didn't add up. But this, they're all working. So I don't really miss Mary, but then when you actually put her, you're like, oh man, like, oh, I miss Mary a little. Like I would love her just to pop in for like a spot of tea or something just every now and then. Like you can't really have a good conversation with her because she's wacky. So it's like she's never going to be really a good scene partner, but she's going to have that. She's going to have that Kathy Hilton-esque. Like Kathy's makes more sense than Mary, but it's going to be that kind of thing where she'll pop in and say something so batshit and like kind of act so wild. Remember when they just let her in the house by herself in her house and she was just talking to mannequins in the closet? Like that was like she had no scene partners, and I was like, still made it entertaining. But anyways, they're seeing the master, and Lisa's like, it's just like Dynasty. And Lisa's like, it literally looks like Barbie's dream house circa 1984. This house is massively outdated, but I do think it's a good party house. Everything looks outdated in this, but it's a really big space. Like, I mean, like it's a big space. It's a cool big space. Like it is, nobody can argue that it's a big space. We flash back to the Chiron, Scottsdale, Arizona, day one. Now, I love when they say day one on shows like this, because you know the next couple of episodes you are going to see just in Scottsdale, Arizona. When he's like, I'm going to get my swimsuit on. We need some sun. And Lisa's like, we never get to spend one-on-one time together. It's been nice. Cheers, Lisa. I was like, yeah, you never get to spend that because you thought she was a dork. You were so mean to her. Also, I gotta, just as a dude, I gotta tell you, man, I'm so ashamed of myself. I was just looking at those two huge gazongas in Whitney's bathing suit, and they're just very big, and they could be potentially used as flotation devices. Listen, if they had that on the Titanic movie, that Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet would have both survived. One would have held on to one the other, and they would have been great. But it was very distracting. She literally puts a margarita glass in between the boobs, and the margarita glass doesn't even move. Like that's what we're talking, like that. Like it's wild. I do think she's gotten a boob job since then. I don't know why I'm whispering, and I don't think it's going to offend you any less, but I do think she's gotten a boob job from, like, it looks like they're smaller, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I bet we get a plot line where she does get a breast removal. I bet we do. Didn't Tamara have that storyline in OC? So anyways, they are jumping around. They're cheers in, and Lisa's like, you're the good time girl. Sorry, Heather, you've been replaced. Well, thanks for inviting me to come in early with you. And Lisa's like, oh, I'm starting to understand you better. It's like, well, it helps me too, because I started like this path of healing. I'll share with you. I don't remember my childhood. You blocked it out. I blocked it out. And it goes pretty deep. I started doing this energy work, and I'm just like starting to have memories. I'm going to be honest. It's like really hard for me to talk about right now, but it's just, sorry. He's like, it's okay. And this is, Whitney trying to open up to Lisa, and like, is Lisa going to take it in? And Lisa's like, when you say block out things, like I don't necessarily block out things, but I remember things. I'm like, it was stressful for me. Like my sisters and I were talking about like childhood traumas, and my parents were like raising little kids, and I'm the middle child, but I assumed everything for all my sisters. I was like the one to like even do my sister's hair like every morning before school. Like my parents both worked, and I got 3 younger kids ready for school. I've been an adult my whole life. Isn't that wild? Like I really like it. This is what I fucking like though. I like when they open up and we care enough about these characters where I'm like, that's fascinating. And it really does show us how these characters become who they are, Lisa in a confessional goes, when I started college, my dad was 39. He had 2 other kids in college. He had already funded 2 missions. Those are Mormon missions, you guys. Had 3 younger kids still in school. We just knew that we had to support our parents. Like we just knew. So we started to lean on each other. And when anything goes wrong for any of us, we are there for each other. And like, I'm very close with all of my siblings. So for me, like, when I say, oh, I love you like my sister, that's a big deal to me. And when he goes, yeah, because I'm so used to having girls around me, like, but not everybody loves me the same way back. And I'm realizing that, like, for example, like, I feel like even with Meredith, now here's the thing. Should Lisa have asked more about Whitney's trauma instead of bringing Meredith into the situation? I was fascinated with hearing little bits of Lisa's, because you're like, oh, okay, I could see where that eventually becomes the Lisa Barlow we know. Like, for example, like I feel like even with Meredith, I was definitely more invested and in love with the idea of being like Meredith's best friend, like her sister. And it wasn't what I thought it was. And Lisa in the confessional says, I was a great friend of Meredith for 10 years. And it was like my own mistake and made her feel like, I was like my one mistake. And I made her feel like you're a horrible person. You haven't been my friend for 10 years. I'm like, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. Listen, I just think this is such a hard truth that Lisa said in a hot mic moment that I just don't think you can come back from it, unfortunately. But I also thought it was more of an even friendship. I thought Lisa was the power player, really. And maybe I watched that wrong. I was looking at their Instagram followings too, and Lisa, I think, has one of the lowest, which I was like, wow, I thought she, it is weird. Like Meredith has the highest. And to me, that's weird. Like, I'm like, I like Meredith, but I don't know. It's weird. I wonder how much of those are bots, when he goes, I love you both. And I think that you both share very similar feelings on it for different reasons and different causes. And maybe it's the point now where they can be a conversation and she can hear you. Have you talked to her about it? And there's a long pause. And when he goes, yes, the Sprinter van pulls up, which, by the way, there is a camera in the fucking Sprinter van. Thank you. Thank you for finally putting a camera in the Sprinter van. See how easy it is? We got a footage of them in the Sprinter van. Heather's like Zach the snack in regards to their driver. Heather always flirts with everybody. She goes, oh my God, this is awesome. Look at it. All right. And he's like, how do you feel based on your conversation? And Whitney's like, I think that this is you and Meredith's fight and battle. Yeah, but I don't want to get, how do I feel? I feel like that's between you and Meredith. Lisa's like, So the ladies come outside and they're all like, woo, or they're about to come outside. And Lisa and Whitney are still talking. Lisa's like, I've forgiven myself and I can't control if she forgives me. But I do know, like, if there's a path for resolution, like, I'll be on it with her if she wants that, but she has to want it. It's not up to me at this point, but I can't wallow in self-hatred. And I'm not going to slip my wrist for anybody at this stage in my life. Like I said, sorry 4 times. If they can't forgive me, there's nothing I can do about it. And when he's like, and that's when everybody comes out. And basically everybody's like, woo, fireball. Jen goes, oh, I missed you, and shakes Whitney's massive boobs, which is, you got to love. I mean, moments like that, you're like, it's kind of funny, Jen. We go to commercial break. We come back. Exterior shots of Scottsdale. Lisa in the confessional says, I do wear glasses. I don't have them on right now, but I can definitely see that Meredith does not want to talk to me, and I don't want to push myself on her. And when he's like, it's definitely very awkward between Lisa and Meredith. I didn't expect them to have like a warm welcome with each other, but I expected something like at least a hello. And the producer says to Meredith, do you feel like saying hi to Lisa? And Meredith's like, no. Then Heather goes, we looked for Kit Kats and sugar babies for you. All we could find were hot tamales and milk duds. And Lisa goes, they were out? They were out. What do you mean they were out? Oh my God, have you seen this kitchen? This is awesome. And when he's like, yeah, so I'll give you the rundown. We have a shaman coming. I love this normal life. We have a shaman coming to Scottsdale, and she recommended not drinking. And the women are all like, what the fuck? And when he's like, yeah. And I was like, did you explain a little bit about our background? And when he's like, listen, this is my third attempt at doing healing with you. If this doesn't work, I'm retiring. Remember, they did healing each season. When he says, thank you for indulging me on my journey to heal. And I know that Jen needs us now more than ever. I just wanted a girls' trip getaway for Jen to come together and to spend time and just show our love and support for you. And Jen like, I wasn't expecting this. And she starts to cry. And Heather's like, we got you. And Jen's like, and I really need it now more than ever. Thank you. What's your social security number? Can I open a credit card in your name? Jen in the confessional goes, it's time like these that you really see who shows up for you. I feel like everybody shows up for Jen. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know. So he goes, these 4 women, they've shown up for me and I'm very grateful. And so they're all still saying, good home, great, great, great. And Whitney pre-picked out the rooms to avoid any drama. She says, there are only 2 things that I need to make sure happen, that Meredith is on one end of the house and Lisa on the other. And Whitney to Jen goes, we decided to give you the master. And Jen's like, oh my gosh. And Heather's like, she keeps getting the best room every time. And Jen's like, in a confessional, ever since the arrest, all I know is I keep getting the master bedroom. hopefully you'll get the master cell in prison. Like, right? Like, maybe, do you think she'll get the big one? Are there big ones in jail? Like, I don't know. Live it up, I guess. When he's like, wait till you see the bathroom. We're all going to be getting ready in here, high school style. And Jen's like, you guys, this is like literally a Barbie dream shower. Jen says, I mean, maybe this is the one area where things are working out for me. Besides all of the time you stole the money and they were, everybody's showing the rooms. Whitney got all these gifts of PJs, slippers, the whole thing. And Heather and Whitney are talking. And Heather's like, the energy when I walked in was weird. I was surprised by Jen's reaction. She got really emotional when you said what the trip was for. And Whitney's like, well, I mean it. I really hope that we can all like come together for her now. And Heather's like, yeah, what is Lisa's expectation? Was she nervous about seeing Meredith? And Whitney goes, she's not nervous. No, she should be nervous, Heather says. Why is she not nervous? Well, she's being really vulnerable. And that's, I think, a good place to start. And I was like, for sure. When he's like, I just feel like icky because I don't want to put in the middle of Meredith and Lisa's fight. You have Meredith who's coming to me with rumors. And Heather's like, Meredith has talked to you about rumors about Lisa. You can totally see her girl boners like doing. And when he's like, mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm trying not to smile. Why does that make you want to smile? You didn't know? And I was like, because I can't believe that Meredith would ever. Has she not shared anything with you? Nothing. Oh, she fully came over to my house and brought up rumors about Lisa. I made a big charcuterie tray for her. And Heather goes, rumors about what? Like affairs. She only alluded to affairs. And Heather goes, multiple? Yeah, but what Meredith has heard out of Meredith's own mouth that Lisa has performed sexual favors for the advancement of Fresh Wolf. No, for the advancement of Vita. And Heather starts to laugh. And Heather's like, Vita tequila? And when he's like, yeah, so the people would take it. And Heather's like, stuff. By the way, this is when you can tell this scene that Heather and Whitney are fans of Housewives, because they're in this scene. To me, it's like Heather is almost watching this scene, realizing how fucking funny this storyline is, because it really is. There's shades of ridiculousness in this storyline that I think we can all agree on. Because to me, like, I will be shocked if it's proven that Lisa really did, because just Lisa does not like, I'd like to take your willy out if you'll put Vita tequila. And like, like I just don't see it. And when he's like, yeah, so people would take it. I know. And then she'd be like, isn't that absurd? And Heather's like, who is she servicing? Vendors, bartenders, bar owners, state liquor store officials? I know it sounds absurd. However, listen to my point. Now is that I've heard Lisa out and I feel like I've gotten to know her. I feel bad because I fully participated. Mormons hate gossip, or they love it, but they don't like to do it. Like, I know that firsthand because I've heard the same rumors about her too. Part of me just wanted to give her a heads up or ask her about it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, what would you do in this position? Heather in the confessional goes, need I remind you that we are on a girls trip for Jen, and this is not time to give Lisa a heads up about horrible rumors that Whitney may have heard. Hell no, don't say a word, which this is Housewives. So you know what, we don't listen to what Heather says. We do it. Heather goes, I think our goal is just to celebrate Jen and we'll deal with that after this. More shots of Scottsdale. We see the shaman Ksenia. Also, Laura killing these notes. She says her name is Ksenia Bublikova, and she is based in Scottsdale. She offers breathwork, shamanic healing, shaman, which, by the way, coming up, I think Meredith says shaman, but she says shaman. She says it so weird. Radical self-love workshop. She's like, this is her website. Her breathwork runs for $177 for an hour. And you can Zoom in person. And it looks like she has breathwork event coming up on October 16th, if anybody would like to join. $177 for an hour. I've seen some shysters in LA charge a lot. So that doesn't really strike me as insane. Anyways, Whitney greets the shaman. And when he's like, I'm really excited to meet with the shaman because I feel like now more than ever, I need to release this pain and this heaviness. Who better to do this with than a group of girls who are equally as fucked up? Lisa comes out and goes, let's heal. And so they start. And Whitney in the confessional goes, Meredith is late once again to one of my healing ceremonies. But this time I'm starting without her. And there's a saying amongst healers in the universe. Those who need the most healing, avoid healing. Oh, burn, shaman, burn. We flash to Meredith getting glam and her like, why are you getting glam for I went to shaman to see she's dealing with a knockout. We hear a cell phone ringing, and Mara's like, "Hi, honey, how are you?" And Seth's like, "Hey, good. How are you?" "I'm good. Have you seen Lisa yet?" "Well, I'm in a house with 4 other people, so yeah." "Have you gone over where all the exit doors are?" And Seth's like, "What's on the docket?" And Meredith's like, "We have a shaman coming. I'm not sure if that's like the right thing for me right now." Meredith in the confessional says, "I've worked with a shaman before, and it was an incredible experience, but really intense. And my current dynamic with Lisa definitely plays a big part in the hesitation to run outside. You know, you're operating your energy and you're opening your energy. And she's shown me that she's someone I shouldn't be practicing, I should be protecting my energy from." We flash back to the backyard. The ladies are sitting on the ground, yoga style, wrapped in blankets, facing the shaman. And the lady's like, "Okay, I'm going to pass around this mixture of cacao elixir." Cacao is a deep heart opening medicine. I knew it just like Lisa Barlow. I thought it was like a chocolate, like the healthy chocolate. I don't know. And anyways, everybody's drinking. It helps the body supposedly to heal, detoxify, give your immune system a good boost. The experience of raw chocolate within a cacao ceremony can also assist in energetic healing and gaining clarity in the areas of love, purpose, intuitive abilities, career, and personal growth. Oh my God. Laura even put a recipe in here. I should put that on the Patreon or something. Heather goes, "I thought it would taste different." And Whitney's like, "Yeah, it's not hot cocoa." And Heather's like, "I would like to release this flavor in my mouth." And Lisa's like, "Is it weird that I like it?" Jen's like, "Yes." And Lisa in a confessional goes, "I love chocolate. So why wouldn't I love cacao? It's earthy." In a confessional, she goes, "I'm boring. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never even smoked weed. I barely take Advil. Like I had my augmentation with nothing. I like went and got a Diet Coke after." How can you not love Lisa Barlow? Like the specificity there. And also that's another thing. You just like, this is somebody that's never cut loose like that in their lives. You got to respect that. That takes a wild person, like truly, like she is dealing with no alter. Like, I mean, wow. So the shaman says, "Set an intention and we're going to release it. It can be something small. It can be something big. Once we let go of that pain, we create all this space to call in whatever we truly want, literally our life's desires." Guys, I got to tell you, I like shit like this. I'm like, fuck yeah, man, let's do this. We'll start with Whitney. Go ahead and share what it is you're releasing. And Whitney's like, "I'm letting go of the past trauma, past hurt." "And what are you calling in?" "I'm calling in oneness." And then they seal the intention by drinking from their mugs. And Whitney's like, "I am releasing shame of not making my family proud. And I want to call in love and understanding." They drink from their mugs. Jen says, "I'm releasing the fear of going to trial in 30 days. I'm calling in my innocence." There we go again. Second time this episode, innocence. "And to just show my family that I love them every single second of the day." Again, they drink. And Lisa goes, "I suck at this. I'm releasing hurt and sadness, and I'm calling in love, support, and kindness." Then she goes, "Go ahead and close your eyes and hold that cacao to your heart. As the cacao starts working through your system, we're going to go ahead and start with breath." Have any of you guys ever done ayahuasca? I've always wanted to, but I guess like you see your own birth and stuff. Like, it's wild. Like you're poisoning your system, but you have like these deep trips on it. Like, I don't know. Kind of interests me. um, as the shaman is talking, we flash to Meredith walking down the steps. And she's like, "I'll tell you guys a little bit about breath work." "Oh, hello." And Mary's like, "Hello." And she's like, "Welcome. And go ahead and have a seat." Whitney in a confessional goes, "When you arrive late, you don't get to pick where you sit. And now Meredith has to sit next to Lisa. LOL. For the lady that joined us a little bit late, do you have something that you want to release that you want to share with the group?" "Yeah, the fact that everybody thinks I've slept with half of New York." Meredith's like, Meredith's like, "I'm not ready to share right now." And the shaman's like, "Okay, okay. All right, ladies, go ahead. Use the cushion you're sitting on, flip it, rub it down, flip it, and go ahead and lie down. We're gonna start the breath work together." And all the ladies are breathing and they're like, "Good. Remember what it is you're releasing, what it is you're letting go of. You are not what happened to you. That doesn't define you. Let the tears come. You don't have to hold back." Oh, I love this. The sun has gone down now. It's dark outside. Shaman is now on the ground next to Jen with her hand on Jen's head. And the shaman says, "Holy shit, you're guilty." No, the shaman says, "I'm right here with you. I know it's scary." And Jen in a confessional goes, "My eyes are closed and I'm just seeing the people that I love most in life. Coach is so strong. He's like my biggest cheerleader, but it's hard for him." A family photo flashes the screen. Just like I'm sure I know it's hard for my boys. Omar wondering if I'm going to be at his football games, or Reefy wondering if I'm going to be at his white coat ceremony in medical school. It's just stuff we don't talk about, but like, just the reality of my situation right now. I hope she also thinks about her victims at times as well. The shaman says, you're so worthy of love, unwinding yourself from all those stories. They're not yours to carry. Lisa's getting emotional. The shaman gets down next to her and has her hands on Lisa's head. And she said, okay, it's okay. Let it come up. Release. Good, good, good. Lisa in a confession goes, what I was expecting to release was the hurt and sadness I felt with my friends. Okay, there's lots of coming up. There's lots of emotions coming up here, the shaman says. Lisa goes, what I ended up releasing was a gigantic fart. Now, what I ended up releasing was something totally different. It wasn't what I was expecting. And the producer says, what did you release? And Lisa in the confessional says, abandonment. And the shaman's like, okay, big releases coming for you. Big shifts coming for you. You're ready to like, let it go. I know you are. I feel it. Lisa in the confessional says, it's about this memory that kept coming to her mind, you guys. And she was a little girl. They were in this play area and there was a slide and she kept going down the slide. And her dad said, last time we're done, we're leaving. We see a photo of little Lisa at age 5 flashes on the screen. Wow. And she goes, I waited till they walked ahead of me. Then I turned around, ran back to the slide. After about 20 times going down the slide with the other kids, she went up to the desk and told the lady, hey, I don't know where my mom and dad are. And that's the only thing that kept going through her mind during this time. She says, oh my God, you didn't even notice I was gone. Her own parents didn't notice she was gone. And isn't that cool? I love that. I love the details in Salt Lake so far. The shaman says, beautiful ladies, really good releases. That's what I tell myself after I poop. Really great release, Ryan. Really great. Stay with it. Give yourself this gift. Meredith in a confessional says, as I'm going through all of this, the truth is I'm being brought to where I was last year. And of course, that was the death of her father, also discussing her nephew's mental health issues. And, so it's bringing her back to that place. Heather in a confessional says, I did not pack a Costco-sized box of Kleenex because I did not anticipate so many tears. This is only night 1. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, they all do a big yell, and they're like, "Power!" She's like, powerful work, everyone. I just want to applaud all of you for being so brave. Whitney in a confessional goes, the whole point of this experience with the shaman is to be vulnerable and open and to work through something hard. What I got from that experience is that I'm going to need my friends to lean on and help me get through this. I can't do this alone. Shaman's like, how are we feeling? And Jen's like, my body was like numb and tingly. And I fed off, like, I could feel everyone's energy and it helped push me a little bit farther to release more. And the shaman's like, and how about you, Meredith? What was that like for you? And Meredith goes, it was intense. It's not my first time working with a shaman. This is when she goes, it's not my first time working with a shaman. And so I apologize to all of you for not getting here in a timely fashion, but I had some anxiety about it, to be quite honest. It stems from not feeling very safe. And I was like, do you feel that way like right now? Like after this whole experience, do you feel any safer? I'm very much triggered by our last trip and having my father's death weaponized against me. And now I'm here with this same group a few days after the anniversary of losing him. And it's a lot for me. Lisa turns to Meredith. Well, I used to feel like I was a safe space for you, and I'm sorry. Meredith turns. You are not a safe space, Lisa. And Lisa's like, I know. I said, never mind. I won't say another word. Lisa gets up and goes into the house. And Meredith to the other ladies is like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. We return to the backyard after commercial, and Jen's like, what did Lisa say to you first? And Meredith's like, she said she used to think that I was a safe space, or she was a safe space for me. And I said, you are not a safe space. I'm not going to lie. And I was like, I'm going to go grab Lisa. I'm just going to see if I can convince her to come back. And then she's like, oh my God, my legs are asleep. And Jen's like, Meredith, I'm here to work through things with you and give you support for whatever you need. Because I know how painful and hurtful it is. Once again, I want to remind people that Jen is one of the first people to bring up the rumor that Meredith slept with somebody in New York in the first season. Yeah, like, okay, Jen really, I think this guilty verdict is the first time she's escaped the clutches of anything. So she goes, ladies, you're probably starving. So maybe at dinner time, this could be a lovely segue to keep these conversations going. Heather goes to get Lisa, and it was like, okay, I just walked away. Like, come. Heather's like, nothing's going to get resolved tonight, but if you walk away, it just breaks. And Lisa's like, I just needed a break. I know, but now you're coming back. Thank you for coming to get me. And Heather's like, I think sometimes we just have to sit in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know. I'm fine sitting in it. And I was like, I know. So they go out there, and this is the seating arrangement. It's Whitney, Meredith at one side, Heather at the head of the table, and then Lisa and Jen on the other side. So Whitney is facing Lisa, Meredith is facing Jen, and then Heather at the head. Another charcuterie board gets brought out. So once again, man, charcuterie, wow. Lisa's like, oh, wow, thank you. I was like, oh, I'm starving. I don't know about you, but emotional breathing takes a lot out of me. Jen's like, thanks for putting this together, Whitney. This is awesome. Thank you for participating. It feels good to come together. Where did everybody set as their thing to release? And Heather's like, you want to start? To Jen? And Jen's like, well, I wanted to be able to release the fear of going to trial in a month. From the fear of attorneys saying, oh, there's a new discovery in the case. And I got in the car the other day. It was like 3 a.m. and I drove to my dad's grave. And Mary's like, oh, geez. And Jen's like, so coach is like, hello, where are you? And then I blocked him. And all the ladies laugh. And Jen's like, he did nothing wrong. But, I was just having a moment. Listen, dog, this ain't the time to be having any more moments. It's got to be fully focused on your family. Like, I know you're scared probably, and you're probably even more scared because you did it, but we don't be blocking our family at this point. Like, listen, you go to your dad's grave, I totally get it, but you do not block. Maybe you even tell him you're going. Your family that you profess to love so much, it's time to stop doing this. And all the women like laughing, like, oh, girl, get it. Like, no, at least that's my opinion. Jen says, so coach is like, yeah, Jen in a confessional says, every time the phone rings, I don't know what I'm going to hear on the other end of the phone, what the new accusation is, what there's a new motion that needs to be filed. I'm on edge 100% of the time. And Heather's like, I think we all kind of saw Coach Shah's party, how much love and support you have. That felt really good to me as your friend to see, the family show up, celebrate Sharif, celebrate you. And then Lisa goes, are you okay, Whitney? Because Whitney's wiping away a tear. When he goes, I've been on this healing journey for honestly probably a year now. She says a lot of her childhood is blocked from 9 to 17. And as I'm doing this work, the memories are coming up and it's been really hard. She was in a very abusive situation. She lets the ladies know, but I stuffed it so deep that she blocked all memory of it. And Heather looks stunned. It was like, you? And Whitney goes, yeah. And Meredith goes, you are brave, Whitney. Next time on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, we see the women get in on the Jen Shah Express where they drink a bunch. Then we see the women watch this horse ceremony of some sort. We see Heather and Meredith talking. Heather asks Meredith, are you just going to move on with Lisa? And Meredith's like, I'm not willing to open myself up to somebody who's just going to stab me in the heart. And Heather's like, stop being a condescending superior bitch. We flash to a dining room table. This is the intense part. And Whitney says to Lisa, I have talked with Meredith about rumors about you. And Lisa screams, does this feel fucking good? Like, fucking hurt me more. And Heather says, I didn't know. And Whitney screams, I have told you everything, Heather. We were at the jazz game with Angie. And she goes, that's who Lisa slept with for the jazz tickets. Lisa sleeps for jazz tickets too? Lisa sleeps for everything? And Jen goes, wait, what? And Heather responds, well, guess what? I didn't hear that fucking nugget. And when he goes, you are lying right now. And Heather yells, fuck you for calling me a fucking liar. And she's pointing at Whitney's face. Most intense thing I've ever seen between the two of them. She walks away and turns around and shouts, fuck you. Walks out of her room. Boom, you guys. Wow, what an episode today. This one is going to win awards if there's awards for a reality show podcast that lasts way too long. Remember to use the timestamps, guys. And thank you for joining us. We have a long week of shows, so eat heartily to give yourself the energy to listen. But thank you, guys. If you like this 5-star review, and thank you to Laura Beth Harp that knocked these out of the park. That was great, man. Thank you so much. That helped me so much. Okay, you guys, I will talk to you bright and early on Tuesday. Go sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/so bad it's good. And remember, reach out to us about BravoCon. Bye.